Hi there, I am Ryan Erlacher and your high-tech redneck. Don't forget to go over to my website at yourhightechredneck.com. Check out my entire Learn to Podcast video tutorial series. It will teach you how to podcast from the ground up. This here is a free video and it's all about mix minus. You may have heard some things about mix minus in the past. There's a little bit of misinformation out there about mix minus. What is it? How do you set it up? I'm here, as usual, to take the mystery out of it and show you exactly how to set up a mix minus. We'll start out with a keynote, and some people like diagrams, so I set up some diagrams and stuff, and then we're going to move right on to my mixer here, and I'm going to show you some live video. I'm actually going to show you video of my mixer, and we're going to walk through some things. So you're going to get both ways. Everybody learns a little bit different. Mix minus, you're going to need it if you're using a mixer for your podcast, and you're going to run your Skype interviews through your mixer, and then you're going to either record to an external digital recorder or record with some kind of podcast, or some kind of audio editing software like GarageBand or Audacity or something like that. Doesn't matter what you're recording into. If you're going to use a mixer, you're going to need a mix minus. A mix minus basically takes your whole mix in your mixer minus their voice, because you're going to be going into the mixer with everything, and then you're going to be coming out of the mixer. And what happens is, if you do that directly and you don't put a minus on it, a mix minus, the person on the other end of the Skype line is going to hear a loop back, and so they're going to hear their own voice, and it's probably going to be just a little bit delayed. Very, very annoying, very hard to do interviews. So we want to take that out of the equation and hook up a mix minus. So I'm going to get on my computer here. Why don't you come with me? Let's check this out, huh?
All right, guys, let's make short work of this and take the mystery out of mix minus. Let's talk about cables a little bit briefly. These are the cables you're going to need at minimum to at least just hook up a mix minus and do that. All right. First thing you're going to need is two 1/8 inch TRS to 1/4 inch dual TS. TRS stands for tip, ring, sleeve. As you see here on this cable, tip, ring, sleeve. All right, as you see on these cables here, tip, sleeve. So these are TS. First thing you're going to need is a 1/8 inch TRS, also known as a 3.5 millimeter headphone jack. So we're going to use TRS. So 1/8 inch TRS into dual 1/4 inch TS cable. All right, very common cable. You can find them online. Now, also we're going to need at least one 1/8 inch TRS into 1/4 inch tip ring sleeve. All right, so 1/8 inch TRS to 1/4 inch TRS. And those are the basic cables you're going to need. If you want to go over to yourhightechredneck.com, you can check out the very in-depth Learn to Podcast video tutorial series. You can buy a video at a time. You can learn how to podcast from the ground up. Of course, one of those sessions, at least part of it, we get very, very in-depth on cables and everything you're going to need. So you can head over there and check that out if you want. All right. Now I have a little bit older iMac, and it has both a headphone out jack, and it also has an input jack. So for like my mic, like I'm doing right now, out of my mixer into the back of my computer. My newer MacBook Pro does not have that, and a lot of newer computers don't. They only have a headphone out jack. So you're going to need a conversion. Best thing to do is head over and get a Griffin iMic if you don't have both a headphone out mic, a 3.5 millimeter port, and a mic in. So you'll need a 3.5 millimeter headphone out and 3.5 millimeter input port on your computer. And if you get this little Griffin, if you don't have it, you get this little Griffin. I think it costs $40, and you can plug it into your USB on your computer, and you can see it gives you the ability to have an input. You can have an output, and you can have an input, and it gives you both right there, in, out. So you'll need that if you do want to buy anything from Amazon, if you don't mind. If you do, remember, use my affiliate link. Just type in yourhightechredneck.com/Amazon, and anything you buy after that is an affiliate link, and I get a small kickback to help me keep putting out content for you guys. So if you remember, I'd appreciate it. So once you get set up with that, or at least you have both of those, let's get into the nitty gritty of the mixer here. Now, I don't use this. I actually do use this mixer for travel. And when I first started podcasting, I did use it. Now this is a Mackie 802 VLZ3. Now I use a Mackie 1202 VLZ4. This is a great mixer. The reason I'm using this mixer is it keeps things so it's not too complicated, because it only has a few channel strip inputs. So you see this here is a channel in strip, mic 1, mic 2, mic 3. These are all channel strips. And then, of course, you have other inputs, computer, iPad. We'll break this down a little bit, guys. But so I didn't want like 15 input channels. I just wanted to keep it real simple for a visual, guys. So that's why I'm using this. But nonetheless, it's a great mixer. So let's put into the mix our 3 microphones, me and my 2 co-hosts, or it might just be you. You might just have 1 mic input. So you see the 3 mics here. We've got all those going in via microphone XLR cables. Very common. Now I have the 3 mics all going into the mix. So whoever's on talking on these mics in my studio is all going into this mix. We're going to start a mix here within the mixer. All right. Next, we're going to move on. And again, these are called channel strips, guys. Each one of these, and you can see they each have level. They have aux knobs and level knobs and gain for your microphones. But each one of these is a channel strip. Again, if you do want to get very, very in depth, you can go over to yourhightechredneck.com and get my complete Learn to Podcast video tutorial series. And of course, you will dream mixers when you're done with that course because you will learn everything. So now we've got our microphones going into the mix. Next thing we want to do is do our main Skype out. Again, here's a computer, and we talked about this a little bit. We've got this would be your headphone out jack on your Skype. You would dial up Skype, and you would be talking to whoever you're talking to on Skype. Now we want to put them into the overall mix, and that's this cable right here, this green cable going in, and of course it's our 1/8 inch TRS headphone jack into dual. You can see it splits here into dual 1/4 inch TS, and it goes right into one of our channel strips, and I'm just using this one right here. So it's going in. So we've got our microphones in the mix. We've got our Skype interviewer, the person we're interviewee in the mix, and now that's all you would have to do at this point if that's all you wanted in your mix. Now, if you want to add music into your mix and you want them to hear it, so basically, like me, I record my podcast kind of as if I'm doing it live, and so I'll have the sound effects or music inputs at the same time so the Skype person can use it, and I'm recording it. So if you want them to hear music while you're recording and you want them the ability to hear it, or maybe you're playing a YouTube video or whatever else input you need, you're going to need a separate device, another computer, an iPhone, an iPad. A great app is the Boss Jock app to have a little soundboard on an iPad or an iPhone, and you can have some carts and put little music or sound clips in there. But anyways, so your other input, it's actually your computer's inputting Skype. Now your iPad would be inputting. You can see this light blue cable or teal. It's going in, and it's going into this other channel strip right here. So that would be my music going into mix. So microphones are in the mix. Skype person is in the mix. And now the iPad with our music is in the mix. So all these 3 things right here are all getting put into the main mix, and they're ready to be sent where they need to be sent. All right. And the way I do that is our main out. All right. And this is your aux send. We're going to deal with that in a minute. I just want you to be aware this is going to be a very important port right here is our aux send, but we'll use that when we do the minus. But right now, very simply, everything's going in the mix. We want everything to go out to our final recording device because we want everything on there. And that's our main out ports. And again, this is a 1/8 inch TRS or 3.5 millimeter headphone jack into my external recorder is how I do it. And of course, it splits into dual 1/4 inch TS. So they're both those 2 1/4 inch TS are coming out. Then they go into one cable, and it's the 1/8 inch TRS, and it goes right into the line in on your external recording device. If you record into another computer, maybe you have another laptop, or maybe you record into something else, you could have another laptop over here and use whatever recording software you use, whether it's GarageBand or Audacity. You'll learn if you go to my podcast course at yourhightechredneck.com. I strongly suggest an external digital recorder instead of another computer. And I have my reasons for that, and I explain them in that course. But so that's how I'm going to have it set up. So very simple. Everything's going into the mix. Everything's going out of the mix into my recorder. Now, at this point, the person on Skype, there's nothing going back into my laptop for them to hear my voice. So they're not hearing anything. We can hear them, but they can't hear me yet. So what I need to do is send this mix. I want them to hear this. I want them to hear my music. I want them to hear all my microphones. What I don't want them to hear is the Skype, their own voice, which is going into the mixer. So now I need to come out of the mixer so they can hear everything in the mix except minus this channel strip right here. I don't want them to hear their self because they'll get a loop back and they'll hear an echo and they'll hear their voice. All right. So let's move on. The way we do that, this is the same diagram, guys, same exact diagram. The only thing I've added is this pink cable, all right? And that's just for visual purposes. This is a this is our 1/4 inch up here TRS, and it goes down to 1/8 inch TRS, our headphone jack. And this is where we put the mic into our computer. This is the input. So the other thing we do is take this knob. All right. So everything right now, these knobs right here, you can see all the aux levels are at unity. They're straight up and down. So that means right now, these aux knobs are coincide directly with this aux send output. All right. So these knobs right here control this aux send. So whatever these knobs, whatever knobs are turned on each of these channel strips with these aux knobs, whatever those are turned to unity, they're all going to be heard coming out of here. So if I leave them all up in unity and on, this person, this is Skype back into my input of my computer, they're going to hear everything. I don't want them to hear everything. Remember, I want them to hear everything minus their voice going in. So all I'm going to do is take the channel strip again. Remember, their voice is coming out of this computer and going into this channel strip. I don't want them to hear that. I want it to go to my main mix, to my main out, but I don't want them to hear their voice going back in this aux send. So to isolate that, I simply take this channel strip that my Skype is going in, and I turn this aux knob all the way counterclockwise so it's completely off. All right? Done. That's a mix minus, guys. So if I turn this off, they're hearing everything. This person on my Skype back into my computer is hearing everything except their voice. They're hearing mic 1 strip. They're hearing mic 2 strip. They're hearing mic 3 strip. They're not hearing this strip, which is their voice going in, and they're hearing this strip because we're leaving it on, and this is our iPad and music. So this little port here and that knob, turn it all the way down, that is a mix minus. It's mixing everything minus their voice. It's really that simple, guys. So hopefully that made sense to you. Go back if you need to, and I'm going to eventually post this over on yourhightechredneck.com. You can always go there, yourhightechredneck.com/mix minus if you ever need to follow up. I'll have a drink blog with the video there and everything, and I'll probably take a shot of this picture and actually put that in a blog just for resource, so you can always go back there if you get stumped or you need to do anything. But anyways, with that said, I'm actually going to give you let's do some live video here real quick. Not live video, but an actual shot of my mixer. And let's just look at it, because diagrams work for some people. And I've learned that also the actual shot of my actual mixer and cables might really put it in perspective and sum it up for people. So anyways, all right, let's move on. Briefly, guys, I just wanted to tell you about a couple free videos that could be very useful to you. And that is if you're interested in a compressor limiter gate, very, very useful tool to learn everything you need to know about it. I did a completely free video on blog. It is so extremely detailed. Definitely something you want to hit up and pass around. You can get it directly at yourhightechredneck.com /MDX4600. Again, very, very free, completely free video and blog. You'll really enjoy it. Also, I wanted to mention, I also have another very useful video, and it's completely free. It is about the Behringer HA4700 headphone amplifier and distribution system. Also, a very useful piece of equipment so that you can have different levels on all your different headphones for your co-hosts and stuff. It does a lot of cool things. So anyways, completely free video and blog. Head over to yourhightechredneck.com /HA4700. You can get everything right there. Don't forget to pass that around. But I just want to mention that, guys, real quick, because it can be useful. And also on that prior video on this Behringer MDX4600 compressor limiter gate, I also show you exactly how to set up a mix minus if you're going to use that piece of equipment, which is awesome for Skype interviews. But trust me, if you get one, you will have no problem hooking up a mix minus through your compressor limiter gate. So head on over there. All right, guys, just want to let you know. Let's move on. All right, here's a visual of my mixer. This is my Mackie 1202 VLZ4 that I use in my podcast studio right now. All right, let's get into this. You already have the diagram, so you pretty much know, but sometimes this visual will help people. And right here, let's talk about our inputs.
mic 1, mic 2, mic 3. I've got my 3 mics. Channel strip 1 is mic 1. Channel strip 2 is mic 2. Channel strip 3, mic 3. All right? Then in this channel strip right here, this is my main Skype input. Okay? 1/4 inch TS into, and it goes directly over here, and it goes right in here to my laptop. All right? And this is the headphone out jack. So it goes out of my laptop and right into this channel strip on my mixer. That's my Skype interview. I have it, let's just say I have Skype going on my laptop. So if I wanted to have that iPad input, I would just put it into another channel strip, which could be this channel strip right here. I would just hook my laptop in the same way or my iPad the same way I hook my laptop in. I don't have it hooked in right now because I want to keep stuff out of the way for you guys, but that's how you could just do another input. So we've got our mics, we've got our Skype input, we've got that all in the mix right now. I want that entire mix to go out to my external digital recorder. So I have these 1/4 inch dual TS into 1/8 inch TRS right here. It goes from here and it goes right into the line in on my external digital recorder, my Roland R05. That's my main out. I want it to have the entire mix, so it's getting it. Now I need to come out with an aux, and the only difference about this mixer is, guys, you'll see 2 aux knobs on each channel strip. On each channel strip, these green ones. I have 2 auxiliary ports, unlike the diagram I showed you. That mixer just had 1, so auxiliary port 1 is here, and auxiliary port 2 is right there. So 1 and 2, and these knobs, 1 and 2, completely coincide with these aux sends, just like I showed you. So I want to get my voice back, the entire mix actually, back to the guy I'm interviewing on Skype. So what I need to do, here's my aux send cable. It's just actually, I think I might have told you a little bit different, but it's just a 1/4 inch TS, and it comes out of my aux port 1, all right, and it goes directly over here, and it ends up right here going back into my laptop. That's the input of my laptop. So now all I need to do is create the minus, all right? So I don't want Skype, and you can see I already had it set, but I don't want this Skype. All these are at Unity, so everything right now is going out aux send and going back into my laptop, including his voice, which I don't want. So all I'm going to do is take my Skype channel strip that my Skype's going in. I'm going to take auxiliary 1 port, which my cable is hooked into right here, and I'm turning that all the way down counterclockwise until it's off. Now I've isolated it. The only thing coming out of this and going back into my laptop is the entire mix minus this channel for Skype. And again, it doesn't matter what I do with here. My main mix that's going out to my recorder is still getting everything. All this knob coincides with is this auxiliary port. So there you go. That is the mix minus, a little visual there. And if you want to get even more detailed, of course, you can go to get my entire Learn to Podcast video tutorial series at yourhightechredneck.com. And I'm also going to show you here real quick my rack setup. As you guys can see, this is just my rack setup here. And I've got my rack. If you're interested in this, this is a Behringer MDX 4600 compressor limiter gate. Very, very awesome. If you want to get my completely free video and blog, it tells you everything you need to know about this thing if you want to add it to your studio. And it's yourhightechredneck.com/MDX4600, MDX 4600. You'll see that video. And if you want to learn how to use this and hook up a mix minus with a mixer using a compressor limiter gate, I'm telling you, get that free video. It will tell you everything you need to know. That video is absolutely awesome. Getting a lot of good feedback on that video. And then above here, I have a Behringer PowerPlay Pro XL HA4700 headphone amplifier and distribution system. All right. And basically I can run 4 different sets of headphones out of that. I can do different levels for each listener. In my studio, it does some other cool stuff too. You can adjust bass, treble. I have a completely free video and blog on that. You get it. You'll know how to use this thing. You'll know how to set it up. You'll have no questions. Trust me. yourhightechredneck.com/HA4700 for the Behringer headphone amplifier and distribution system. Anyways, just a couple cool resources for you guys. Check those out. Pass them around. Just wanted to show you that real quick. They're hopefully a good resource for people. Peace out. Yep, if you guys want to get your professional podcast studio set up and learn everything you need to know how to podcast from the ground up, head on over to yourhightechredneck.com. get my complete video tutorial series on everything you need to know on how to podcast. You'll learn what this equipment is and everything you need to know about it and how to get your podcast. Even if you don't want to go professional at first, I still show you how to start very humbly. And as you get bigger, you can move up and get new equipment. All right, check it out, yourhightechredneck.com.